to another edition of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live, yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Yes. The show took a couple of weeks off. I figured y'all might, get tired of me since I was doing the virtual thing with the state party, and then I was doing the virtual things with the caucuses, and then I did another virtual thing with the Southside Dems and the Young Democrats. I thought maybe that y'all might get tired of looking at me. So we pulled up for a couple of weeks so that we can convention together as a state party, and I just took a couple of weeks off, and now we are back. And listen, let me promise you, I have got candidates booked out, not just tentatively. I've got candidates booked out, double booked every Thursday until October 1st. I'm not playing with you. So the October 8th, I'm trying to get a special guest, so I'm going to hold that one. I got a few special guests I'm trying to get on the show, so I'm holding on to that last month. But we are double booked until October. So we are going to bring you the people that are going to be on the ballot in November so you can learn about who these folks are, how you can figure out how to help them. And we're going to do it all remotely. And I pray AT&T does not mess me up. Can we pray? Okay. So, I got to rant. It's been a minute, so I got to rant. Do y'all remember a little while back, I don't know, May, I think it might have been, when we said, oh dear Governor Holcomb, please do not begin the reopening process. Oh my goodness, we're not really ready yet. Please don't open up the state. Let's take some more time. We're not even seeing a decrease in COVID cases. Oh my, can we please? And then I remember when we were opening back up again, I was like, oh Lord, I hope I am dead wrong. I probably shouldn't use the word dead, but I hope I am wrong. I hope that the science is wrong. I hope all the doctors are wrong, and that reopening our state and reopening our country is not going to cause any more damage. Well, it appears that the scientists and the doctors were, absolutely correct. And so Governor Holcomb today decided that, well, we're not going to go past stage 4. We're going to do like a stage 4.5. Really? We never qualified for stage 1. Mayor Hogsett on July 2nd finally issued a mandate to wear masks. I'm just going to drop that right there and leave it. Everybody in Marion County, put your masks on. It is now a requirement. Put your mask on. So for all you people who've been watching all those videos of law enforcement coming at young people and maybe handcuffing them or pulling them over, maybe they heard that they were resisting arrest, and you are one of those folks that say, well, if they just follow the rules, they wouldn't have got arrested. If they just follow the rules, Mayor Hogsett said, wear a mask. Now let me see you wear your mask and you follow your rules. Follow the rules. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. And speaking of which, I know I've been disturbing some folks lately because my Facebook page, does a whole lot of ranting about things that concern the Black community. Now look at here, Democrats. Y'all know I love my party. And I love everybody in my state. But before you know that I'm a man or a woman, before you know what my sexuality is, before you know I'm rich or I'm poor, before you know I'm a Republican or a Democrat, you know I'm Black. I am watching history repeat itself. I am seeing the same stories over and over again. And if you think for 1 second, because I'm the deputy chair for engagement for our state Democrat Party, all of those instances don't bother me. And if you think with my big mouth, I'm not going to say anything, or I'm going to express the trauma that I feel when the fact that I feel terrorized, I literally feel terrorized. If you have a problem with the fact that I want to talk about the fact that I believe Joe Biden should pick a black woman. Black people saved his campaign. That's the least you can do. That's the least you can do is pick a black woman to be your VP. And there are plenty of women who are ultimately qualified to be vice president. Mike Pence is the vice president now. How much, what qualification? My 10-year-old niece, Elon Allen, is more than qualified. If the standard office holder is the standard bearer. So I'm not even going to apologize. I'm a black person first before I am anything else. I know sometimes it makes my white friends and some of my white followers a little uncomfortable, but I'm black every day. I don't get to take it off. I don't get to pretend I'm not. I'm still out here fighting every day for every Hoosier. But you've got to cut us some slack. I've been living with this trauma for a long time. This ain't new to me. It's new to you. It's brand new to you. But it's not new to me. And I have a platform, and I've got to talk about what's important. And if you want to understand what defunding the police really means, it's not saying we're not going to pay police officers or we're going to disband police law enforcement, because we need that. Understand what it is. Understand what it means. It means shifting money so that maybe we can deal with situations before law enforcement actually has to get involved. Understand what it means. But if y'all feeling some kind of way and y'all feel like as allies, y'all being turned off because I'm getting too black, I don't know what to tell you. I've been this black my whole life. I'm so black they named me Black. I'm just saying, my name is Dana Black. What the hell? So anyway, I just had to get that out. One other thing, when you have people like Jim Banks, Representative Jim Banks out of District 3, talking like he talks, those are the people you need to go get. Don't get on me because I'm trying to bring awareness to a real life situation. This dude is he's trying to understand, well, what do I tell my children when they are taking down the statue of the Confederate general? Tell them they taking down the statue because he had slaves and he thought he wanted to fight and die so that other people can own slaves. Tell the truth. But you don't want to do that. You want to pretend like these people don't have a reason to be upset. And that's why we got to make sure that we get him out of there. Y'all find Chip Calderon's page. Y'all donate to his campaign so that we can flip District 3. District 5 is now a toss-up. So make sure you guys get out and you support Christina Hale, because we can get District 5. These races are so important. I know that the noise at the top of the ticket is really loud and everybody wants to talk about what's going on up there and blah, 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 blah. But we got a governor's race. We have a lieutenant governor's race with Myers and Lawson. Great. That's what a Democrat ticket looks like, right? Then you got Jonathan Weinzapfel, who is running for Attorney General. Listen, I like him better than, the handsy fella. I don't care if the handsy fella is an African American. He's a handsy fella and he needs to keep saying to himself, so he needs to go find a new job. We'll help him do that. And we have 25 Indiana Senate seats and 100 House seats that we need to be focusing in on, because if we do not end that supermajority in our state house, we're going to still be dealing with craziness. Now, before I get to my guest, I want to do one thing kind of off topic, but not really. You know how much we talk about education on this show, because we know how important and how valuable making sure that our students in Indiana get proper education. I want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Patricia Payne. I don't know if you guys have ever met her. The first time, I knew she knew, when she acknowledged that she knew who I was like, oh my God, she knows who I am. It was like that, right? Miss Patricia Payne who now is the director of racial equity for IPS, received the H. Council Trenholm Memorial Award this year. And she, whatever accolades she receives, she absolutely deserves. She's been with IPS for 58 years. She is a woman who has dedicated herself to improving lives of Hoosiers every day by being in the lives of young people. So y'all give it up for Miss Patricia Payne, because I'm inspired. 58 years? Whew. Now, I call myself an old lady and I'm only 50. So she started 8 years before I was born. I'm just saying. So if y'all know Miss Patricia Payne, y'all give her a shout out. Say congratulations. She is a true Hoosier that represents who we are and what our values are. All right. Let me tell y'all something. When I talk about what's going on up in Fishers, up in Hamilton County, we saw how we were able to flip those council seats in Marion County and in Fishers. We have the opportunity to flip a seat in Hamilton County that is so valuable to us. Let me tell you why. The current incumbent of said seat, District 37, has been voted in as the next Speaker of the House for the Indiana General Assembly in the House. Now, I find it ironic that Indiana Republicans can only find their speakers from Hamilton County. I mean, there's 70 of them. There's 70 speakers all over the state of Indiana, but they can only find them from Hamilton County. So please understand, y'all know I love my people in Hamilton County, but Hamilton County is not representative of what's going on in Lake County. It's not representative of what's going on in Vigo County. It's not representative of what's going on in Vanderburgh County, Cass County, St. Joe County. It's not the same. But what we can do is we can flip this seat. We have a candidate who is running for the second time. She didn't give up the first time, right? She did not give up the first time. She is committed to this thing. She came real close last time. I want y'all to understand. It was not like my blowout, 32 to whatever, that's what I had, 32%. She was over 45%. And that was 2 years ago. Last year, we saw what we can do in that Hamilton County area. We're bringing her back. She's got name recognition. She's got the moxie to do it. Y'all give it up for my girl, candidate for House District 37, Aimee Rivera-Cole. Aimee, welcome to Turn Left. How you doing, my sister?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? This seat, there's a lot of important seats, I think, in both our House and Senate races. But can you just imagine what it would be like? So, homeboy sits at the crib, he getting ready to take over as a Speaker of the House, and then election night, November, he loses.
Yeah, I've been imagining it quite a bit, actually.
So you know what? So we can get this party started off right. Tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Well, I'm Aimee Rivera-Cole. I am from Fishers. Well, I currently live in Fishers. I actually am from Kokomo. And then I lived in Bloomington for a while. And then I lived up in Lake County for a while. And for the past almost 15 years now, I've been in Fishers. So I've been all over the state. I am an attorney. And I do defense litigation, civil defense litigation. I am a mother. I have a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old. And that's actually... my 16-year-old is the reason I ran in the first place, and my 19-year-old is the reason I am running again, honestly. My 16-year-old, a couple years ago, was the victim of a bullying incident at school, and I kept trying to go get help, and trying to bring it to the administrators' attention, and they were aware, but they were basically like, there's nothing we can do. And I said, well, why can't we? Well, what happened was when she was indicting, someone had broken into the locker room and written something really bad. I'm not going to say what it is because
no worries.
There's kids who might be listening. And plus you can, it doesn't matter. You can imagine just having something bad written on you and permanent about you and permanent marker all over her clothes, all over her homework, all over her backpack. And then she had to put those clothes back on and walk through the school. And I said, well, why can't we have somebody monitoring the locker room, or why can't she have had a locker? Well, we don't have enough lockers and we don't have the funds to have someone. We don't have the funds. What are you talking about? This is Hamilton County. Like,
They got money.
what do you mean? And because I didn't understand how the school funding had worked at that time, I didn't know, because everything seemed fine to me until it didn't. And so basically, long story short, a mom with a bee in her bonnet decided, hey, you know what? I got to make sure that our teachers have the resources they need to keep our students safe. And 2 years later, my son is now going to school to be a teacher, like my mom was. He's in college now, and I don't want him to have to move away to get a good job. We are 51st in the nation in teacher pay raises for the past 15 years, and that's not okay. My mom actually retired early because at some point they just quit treating her like the professional that she was. She wasn't able to teach to inspire. She was teaching to standardize tests. And I mean, I want to see, like, you can see the excitement in my son's eyes when he thinks about teaching. And it just breaks my heart to think about it being drained over not being paid well and not being treated well, and, having to teach to these standardized tests that don't really give a fair representation of what the students are learning. I mean, the teachers know what their students, how they're progressing. They know what makes their students learn and what inspires them. We don't need some standardized test that we spend $130 million on for every year, and then we don't end up using because some crazy, something happens, that the testing doesn't work right or whatever. It just seems insane to me. And this pandemic has only just emphasized the disparities in the school systems when, they have to go to all online. But what if you don't have internet at your house? Or what if, like my child, I still had to work from home, and I couldn't just say, sorry, judge, I got Spanish homework to do,
Right,
and luckily
right.
I was at home, but some children don't have even that luxury.
Yeah, and some of the teachers don't either. We have a candidate running down in Southern Indiana who is a teacher, and he didn't have the necessary and adequate infrastructure, high-speed internet to even teach his kids. So what is he supposed to do? He's got to go and find a place that he can plug in. I mean, so it's not even just the students anymore. It's the staff.
That's a good point. And then we tell our teachers, well, on a drop of a dime, you need to change your lessons plans and be able to turn your house into a classroom or find another way to do it in that teacher's case. But we're not going to prioritize you in our budget ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
we've chosen.
Yeah. And then they want to, like, what they say is, well, we over 51% of our budget is going to education, but it's what you're spending it on. And that's the part that often, like, frustrates me, because here you have these folks who claim to be, oh, we're fiscally responsible. We're not tax and spend. We want to be responsible, but they're spending money on things that don't actually contribute to actually enhancing the student, like the teacher and the supplies. They spend billions of dollars on testing and the creator of the test. Oh my gosh, Pam Daschle up in who's running in 88. She broke it.
Okay.
Yeah, she broke it down, like how the money was being spent. And it was like, why is this acceptable? So, and I know your opponent. He doesn't ever want to touch the rainy day fund. And he is definitely not willing to look at teacher salaries. He wants to follow the Betsy DeVos playbook on taking public dollars and giving it to private schools and parochial schools. This is who your opponent is. He's articulated those things.
Well, so who he is somebody who works for a college testing company. He is the vice president of the College Board. In order to graduate from school now in Indiana, now that they're getting rid of the ISTEP, you have to take a college preparatory test, even if you're not going to college, either the SAT or the ACT. My opponent works for the College Board, which administers the SAT. So every time a child in Indiana takes the SAT in order to graduate, his company makes X amount of dollars off of that student.
Well, I didn't know that. What other kind of testing is his organization responsible for?
The AP testing. So if you notice that the teachers that do get raises, it's the people who choose to teach the AP classes. Huh. And if you could look up, since it's supposed to be a nonprofit corporation, even though it's not, it is they earn quite a bit for it to be a nonprofit. His salary is public record. So I was able to look up 2017 where he made almost $500,000. So it makes bank to test, but not to teach. That's the lesson.
So, okay, wait. First of all, I'm not going to hate on anybody for making their money, right? I'm not going to do it. Because if you doing your thing, you're making your money. But if you're making $500,000 off of testing students, how on earth could you possibly AP testing? How on earth could you be against the teachers and not wanting to give them money?
It's a really good question.
How is that? See, that's why I didn't even know that. I just knew the dude got ate up by Senator Taylor when they were talking about the budget and how the money was divvied out, and you could tell one person understood fiscal responsibility and the other one was just spitting out talking points, and he was spitting out talking points.
Sorry,
that's okay.
And then as far as the Betsy DeVos, she actually called him out by name, my opponent, praising the efforts he has done. He has, since he came into office, he has helped expand the voucher program that was supposed to be to take, somebody who was in a failing school and provide them a voucher to go to another school, which I don't agree with that to begin with. I think that why not
fix the whole damn school
and help all the children instead of just pick one kid that you maybe think you like. But now you can make a household can make almost $100,000 and qualify for the voucher, and you don't ever have to have gone to a public school. So 60% of the students who receive vouchers have never attended public school. The other 40%, half of those students only attended public school for 1 year. And we spend over $166 million per year toward the voucher program. So just to put it in context, just this past year, HSU schools could have had, if it wasn't for the voucher program siphoning money from the general fund, could have had over $2 million toward just our school.
And then I think about counties, and see the fact that you've lived in different places in Indiana, you've seen many different things. I think about those counties, corporations where there isn't a choice. There are no choices. There are no charter schools in those counties, and they have less money because that money is coming out of the big pie. And the same people who represent these communities are the ones that are voting for it.
And I love that you say there's no choice, because they like to call it student choice, but you don't have a whole lot of choice. The school can say, well, we're not going to take you because you don't fit, because a lot of these schools that are taking these vouchers are religious schools, and they could say you don't fit our religious parameter. So if you're
gay,
if you identify if you're gay, if you don't identify the way that they think you should, or if you have some kind of a mental or physical disability that could, strain their budget, they don't have to take you. So not everybody has a choice. So I don't understand a program that says, well, we'll pick and choose a few kids that we can pull out of the school system, and the rest of you, it's sink or swim.
Yeah.
I don't get that to begin with. But then to keep trying to support multiple school systems, a public school system, a voucher school system, and a charter school system, which they call them public charter schools, but they're for-profit corporations. They don't have the same kind of transparency requirements. So we have 3 school systems that we're trying to support, and then we're not putting any more money into the system, to the budget. they say that 51% of the budget goes to education. Well, it should. It's supposed to. Look at all the states. It should be at least that. That's what it goes to. That is what we were supposed to be doing. That is the foundation of our state.
Yeah.
Is the education of our children.
Yeah.
But,
I agree.
But then when you're pouring money into voucher schools, like if you want to go to a Catholic school, I am all for it. I have cousins who went to Catholic school. My mom went to Catholic school. Why should I pay for it?
Exactly. I use the analogy. I don't actually spend a lot of time on the south side of Indianapolis. I just don't. There's not a reason for me to, unless I'm going to go visit a friend, or there's a fundraising event, or young Democrats are hosting something fun, because they always doing something fun. They let the old lady hang out. What if I said I don't want my tax dollars to go fix the roads on the south side of Indianapolis? That's not how that works. That's not how that works. Public money is supposed to be for everybody. The public money is for public institutions. If you want to send your kid to a private school, hey, that's what it's for. If you want the public money is supposed to stay there. And I think that's the part that people miss. I don't have children. I don't have any kids. Aimee, I was a chicken because it looked like it hurt. And I didn't have any kids. But guess what? I still pay into the public school system. And then we just saw the Archdiocese of Indiana basically say, yeah, if your kid is trans, they can't come here. But you're receiving public dollars? You receiving trans people money? Which I just...
Exactly right.
That's
exactly right.
That one gets me hyped. All right, let's... because education is that big one. That is one of those things that no matter where I've gone in the state of Indiana, that's an issue that everyone talks about. But you've been doing this for a couple of years now, a couple of cycles now. Talk about what else is on your platform this time around, and the things that you're hearing that you see people want addressed, not only in your district, but statewide.
Well, yeah, education is my big one. You're absolutely right. Sorry. Another is women's reproductive rights. That is huge for me. I remember when there was Planned Parenthoods or whatever. When I was fresh out of college, that was my source of healthcare, basically 100%. And that's where I went for all my screenings, all my checkups, because I couldn't afford anything else. And now they're shut down. They're nowhere to be found. It's amazing to me. As we just talked about, I'm Catholic, and people always say to me, how can you be Catholic and support women's reproductive rights? And I said, well, it's not that I want more abortions. Of course not. But making them illegal is not going to make there be less abortions. It's going to make there be less safe abortions. Mm-hmm. You're going to have more moms dying. Mm-hmm. What we need to do is address the root problem that's causing women to feel that that's their only choice. We need to make sure that there is affordable healthcare, affordable daycare, that we have paid maternity leave. I know after I had my daughter, I was a single mom, and I had to go back to work 6 days later. And I had a newborn and a 3-year-old, and I went back to work because I had no other option.
That maternity leave thing is something we need to be talking about too. Again, this is, I think, one of those cases where if we had more women at the table, the fact that we're 51% of the population and we're only 23% of our elected officials, I bet if we had more women at the table talking about what maternity leave should look like, because if you can't, and I don't mean no disrespect for women who can't, have babies, but if your body biologically is not designed initially to give birth to kids, how do you get to determine how long a woman's body should take to heal or to bond or whatever it is that a mother and a child needs to do? Especially when some of y'all, we can't even get you to change a damn diaper.
Well, and the problem I had was, so I had to go back to work, but daycares won't take infants. So I was like, what do I do? I didn't have parents who lived nearby.
And we already know Indiana is like one of the most expensive places for daycare anyway. So not only has your body not physically healed, there's limited spaces for you to take your newborn, and you're going to spend half your check doing it.
Right.
That whole thing needs... That whole thing needs to be revisited. And I know your opponent it don't care. He got a $500,000 off of testing AP students. What he care?
Well, and he actually said at a legislative brunch the other one day that when they were talking about the bill to they were trying for workplace accommodations for women who are pregnant, and he said that there needed to be a summer study because apparently pregnancy is a new thing,
It's a
and
new. Oh
there
my
needs to
God.
be. But it gets better. Not only did he say, "Well, we won't talk about in the summer study," but he couldn't even keep the promise to do the very least he could do because then they were like, "Never mind, there's no summer study. We're not going to do it," and then Bill's gone.
Yeah, because he did again. You got pregnant. Good luck to you. We're not gonna offer. We're not gonna figure out as a society to help you because if we do that, then golly, everybody's gonna want help. I mean, but what the other part they don't understand is when we can help women with their reproductive rights and reproductive issues, we are actually helping them economically as well. What?
And
What?
the maternal mortality rate in Indiana is one of the highest in the country.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. The infant mortality and maternal and infant, they're both high, especially in the African American community, in the communities
That's
of color,
exactly right.
is ridiculous. And but see, again, he's not interested in those things. And normally, y'all know I don't even talk about the opponent, but this race in District 37 is way too important. Please understand, on this Facebook feed, there is a link to Aimee Rivera-Cole's page so that you can donate while we're talking. If she's saying anything that you like, give her $5. Give her $10. We can't get out knocking doors, but she's got to order materials. She's got to get her message out the best way we can. So as we continue to learn about her and as she speaks to you and the things that you require, click the link, dog. Get some money flowing. So what else are you hearing out there?
Well, and then that's kind of on that same vein, just as far as even just women equity, but just equity in general. Inequality in general. Indiana, we say we're the Hoosier hospitality state, but we sure don't show it. And we couldn't even get a comprehensive hate crime bill. Like we couldn't even do that. We have like a skeleton of a hate crime bill that really doesn't do much of anything. I mean, how hard is it? How hard is it to say, you know what? If someone is being targeted simply because of who they are, because of their very identity, because of the essence of how they were born, something they have no control over, and if that is why they are being targeted, then guess what? You're going to have a little extra punishment on top just to show you that that is not who we are as a state. That is, we do not tolerate that. But we just couldn't even manage to do that. And it just, you can tell I'm a little passionate about this.
Hey.
It infuriates me.
But that's good because again, people get a little frustrated with me because I said, you know what, I'm done trying to change hearts and minds. I'm done with that because it's obvious since 1619 we have not been able to change people's hearts and minds. Not everybody anyway, right? And so there's always going to be somebody that feels some kind of way because somebody loves differently, right? Keep your opinion. You just don't get to treat me bad because of it. You don't get to do things to, and if you do, I want to make sure I have the legal recourse so that you're punished for it. And I understand your passion because you have 2 kids. You're a working mom. You're an attorney. You understand the law. And the fact that you are that passionate speaks volumes.
Yeah. So it's disappointing to see that year after year, like who are you protecting by not having these laws? Like, what's the kind of person that's like, you know what? What if I really just want to go out there and like, no, you should, no, like, if I don't see why this, like a comprehensive hate crime bill would bother anybody because you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be going out acting like that in the first place. And ostensibly, like arguably, I couldn't imagine someone admitting that they would. So what are you trying to say? Like, I just want to be able to just in case? Like, no.
And you know what? It's one of those. It's also one of those domestic violence bills, right? So it's. I mean, it's so heavy and it's so racked that again, these are these are instances and situations where, we need somebody that actually cares about human lives. Aimee, let's talk about something that I know that your opponent is going to be talking about on a regular basis. Let's talk about small businesses. All right. Again, you're an attorney. I don't even know what kind of law you practice, but as an attorney, unless do you work for a law firm or do you have your own practice?
I work for an insurance company.
Insurance company. Okay, well that's even so. You if you wanted to go out and start your own law practice, you would be a small business. So you understand the dynamics of all of that. Talk about the importance of how we have really neglected our small business community, or your take on it, and what you would like to see us do better in reference to small businesses in Indiana.
Well, especially right now, I think that, like, again, this pandemic has kind of like really put a spotlight on where we've kind of our weak spots or our failings as a state. And this is another perfect example when you see these companies now that, when they're living paycheck to paycheck to begin with, they're just barely making ends meet. And now there's nothing to fall back on. We're forcing them to close, and, we should, because we have to keep people safe, I suppose. But we have the rainy day fund. Well, it's raining. It's raining pretty hard. So it's time to dip on into it, because we need to save these small businesses and give them a hand. And at least I heard my opponent talking about, well, we could give them a low interest rate loan. Why don't you give them a 0 interest rate loan for like 2 or 3 years if you're going to give them a loan? Why do you need to make money off of them right now? Can't you just let some people get back on their feet for a minute? Because it's going to help everybody. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, we're all going to suffer. I recognize that, this is a capitalistic society, but we all depend on one another too to make this community work. We are a community. And if you're having all these companies close, it's going to affect the entire state. Yeah. So we can do all kinds of things to help. And I just don't think that we're not doing enough. I don't think that we ever think I feel like Indiana has been very short-sighted. Like, they don't look far enough ahead.
You think?
Yeah. It's like
that is one of our shortcomings for sure, is that we do not think past the current situation. I mean, our infrastructure right now, and if I'm not mistaken, who I was talking to, was it Christina Hale when she was still in the State House, or Carly Macer? It was one of the young ladies, and they were on the Utilities Commission, or Infrastructure Commission, or whatever, one of those committees. And they had talked about, like, it had been like 6 years since they had actually met to discuss the infrastructure and clean water, wastewater, our electrical grid. We haven't even discussed how we are going to address these things. They're working now.
And we have look at all the money in our savings account. This is what it reminds me of. Like, if you have a hole in the roof of your house and you're like, well, I don't want to dip into that savings account, so I'm just going to let it rain and snow and ruin the carpet and the walls and the infrastructure, and make it so that it's, at some point, you can't even repair it, or the cost to repair is twice as much than if you would have just fixed it and invested in the first place. But no, we got to hoard onto that extra money. Why did we need all of that? If you have kids starving in the street, kids who are now, we're finding, kids who, now that school's closed, don't have lunches. Mm-hmm. If we have that kind of a situation, why do we need to have 260 million or $1 billion in reserves? We shouldn't even have $1 if we have some of our own children starving.
Oh my God, isn't that crazy? The idea that we're sitting on, $2 billion and we got hungry kids. I mean, we have hungry kids. Kids, they don't have nothing to do with the decisions that their parents made. It's not their fault. They're kids. And we are not, I don't understand. How can you say that you care about Hoosiers, but you are sitting on $2 billion and you letting kids go hungry? You see where Mitch McConnell is talking about, listen, these stimulus checks and this unemployment, we are just going too far with this. We got to stop this. I'm sorry. This is just too much.
Oh, yeah.
It's gross.
And well, and so that's the other thing with I've noticed that the pandemic has really shown a spotlight on is how working families are treated. My
Mhm.
husband is he works for Lucas Oil, so you can imagine that there's not a lot of events going on right now.
Right,
So,
right.
and as much as I love that he's been home for 4 months, it's been lovely. Um, it's starting to get a little like, oh, okay,
Get
when are you going to be able to go back? And when you were living paycheck to paycheck to begin with, and then you don't have a paycheck, it's scary.
Yeah.
And my son plays football in school, and now there may not be football. So if there's no football, is there no college? Is there no scholarship? So
Oh.
I don't know. And so now I'm on the possibility of no scholarship, on the possibility of, who knows when he'll return to work. And,
Mm.
that's just another shortcoming of like how we treat our working families in Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and these right to works and busting up unions and doing everything we can to because see again all of the things that we enjoy like this 3 day weekend we got, right? We all are getting this 3 day weekend. I'm off tomorrow. It's a 3 day weekend. I'm getting paid. You can thank a union for that, right?
Right.
And the fact that we continue to disparage these working families and just I didn't even know it was hitting you like that, Aimee.
Yeah. Well, and luckily, my husband is a union member and his union has been very good to us. Thank God. So,
Yeah.
we're going to be okay, but it's still scary.
It's a
And I can
stressor.
imagine like if if we were both in that situation, I'm sure there's tons of families out there that are
Hmm.
obviously way worse than me. So it's just, it's just another glaring spotlight on how we could have had things set up ahead of time to prevent situations like this. Um,
Absolutely.
Same thing with like health. I think, I don't know, we rank at the bottom at half of basically every metric for quality of life and health in all the states. So now there's people with, we have so many people with comorbidities that, could have been prevented and now they're high risk and they can't go out and go to work or they're terrified to go to school. And, that because we've chosen not to invest in the health of our, of
Oh
our
God, no.
citizens.
And I would almost say that our elected officials at our state house have been, you know, negligent, and uh, because we didn't heed the warnings, because our leaders, our elected officials, because they ain't really leaders, they just dumbasses right now. Did I say that? I'm sorry. Don't agree with that. You are a candidate. You cannot say that. Anyway, because they are not thinking people sometimes, they've extended this crisis out. They've extended it. So where we could
Mm-hmm.
have been like, I don't know, any one of those other nations around the world who, oh, we got a pandemic. Let's shore it up. Let's shut it down. No, we don't want to do that. We want to follow ignorance instead of science. And now we've stretched it out longer. We could have been done with this thing in May. But
Mm-hmm.
we didn't want to admit, we wanted to make it literally a partisan political issue. I don't understand how healthcare is a partisan political issue. I mean, the last time I checked, we all have blood running through our veins and we have lungs that take in air, you know. Um, if you're getting quality health care, why quality affordable health care, why wouldn't you want your fellow citizen to have health care, quality health care? Talk about health care and where you stand on that.
Well, I think you're exactly right. I mean, it shouldn't just be healthcare is not just something for rich. Like everybody has to have healthcare, and it only benefits us to make sure that all of our citizens are well taken care of. Again, you don't want ERs filled up with people who have colds because they don't have insurance to go to a doctor. The cost is going to get passed along somewhere. So because people get sick,
Mm-hmm.
or they get sick and they go seek, they have to go to the emergency room because they don't have a doctor, or they don't seek any care and then, way worse, like obviously way worse can happen.
Yeah.
We need to focus on preventative health care. That would save the state a ton of money just by making sure that everybody had access to preventative care. Because
Yes.
like I said, if it gets down to a point where it's emergent, you're going to the emergency room whether you have insurance or not.
The
And the
cost is
cost is getting
estimated.
passed along. So why not invest? This is where I say we're so short-sighted. Invest on keeping our citizens healthy to begin with, and invest in programs and education programs to keep them healthy. And then it's going to save us money. Plus, you have a healthier community. You have a better quality of life in general. When you have a better quality of life, you're attracting more businesses. You're attracting more people. It's cyclical.
Oh my God. You mean to tell me if we improve the quality of life in Indiana, we can attract more businesses? Aimee,
I heard that
what you
somewhere.
say? What you say, girl? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, unless they want us to be, the low wage capital of the country.
The choices that are made all the time astound me. It's Yeah. I always joke to I actually even have my kids even made me a shirt that says it's because one of my famous phrases is "make good choices" whenever they go off to the bus. I used to say it to embarrass them. Make good choices, and now it's just became like a thing. But I'm like, maybe I need to make all of them that shirt.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
some good choices.
Yeah. As I'm not altogether convinced that our elected officials are the brightest of the bunch. I'm not convinced. I believe that opportunity and networking are elements that have helped them along the way, and you pad their pocket the right way, they literally turn their backs on us as Hoosiers. And now I will say this. We are going to give them some props. One thing they did, they actually turned down the utility companies for wanting to get paid for services that they didn't render.
Even that was a bridge too far.
Oh, I was actually
All right.
shocked. I was like, they not gonna give them the money? It was the right thing to do, and I like to think it had a lot to do with folks like Senator J.D. Ford and our party saying really, and other consumer organizations saying nah, dog. How you gonna try? Everybody else is losing money because they don't have service. Why do you get to
Right.
keep money and you don't? Yeah. So they did do something right, but I think they realized that they were gonna have like pitchforks at
Right.
their houses if they tried
Well,
to jack us. So one of the
well,
things
that
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that just goes to also illustrate why we need a balance of power. And like when you say like, great leaders like J.D. Ford, who's making a difference, and I do think that he is, and he's fabulous. And when you see we're bringing back more of a balance of power, we got to break that supermajority, and you can guarantee that I if my opponent wins this election, they are going to gerrymander him safely so that it is never a competitive race again.
Absolutely. This is the time to flip it and get him out of there. Right now is the time. Now
It's
is the
now or
time.
never.
And that's, what, I'm glad you brought that up because again, people get so focused on what's happening at the top of the ticket that we don't realize the impact that this election is going to have on the next 10 years. Whoever we send into that state house is going to draw the lines. And if we don't at least break that supermajority, we can't even fight against anything that they draw if we don't break the supermajority. At least if we break it and we're still in the minority, we can still fight. But if we don't, and this is a seat that needs to be flipped because they don't even call our bills to committee. So half of the state is not even being heard.
We don't even have a seat at the table. And when decisions are being made in the dark, when there's no transparency, I don't know how, regardless of what party you are, how you think that's a good idea.
It's not. And you're right. Regardless of what party you are in, transparency is the key, and I hope that and I mentioned that in when I was delivering the platform at our convention. You know, we need to hold our Democrats accountable to the platform that we put forward, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it's important that we hold our party to transparency because we supposed to be about the people. I agree with you on that one. Before we get out of here, the young folk in our state have been loud and adamant. Obviously there's a lot of things going on with COVID and Black Lives Matter and police brutality and needing to change things. But one of the things that young folks around the state of Indiana talk about every time I get a chance to be in their space is the environment. They are hoping and praying that we leave them a planet to live on. Can you talk about how you see us addressing the needs of our environment, protecting our environment, so our young people, like your kids, can have some place to live when they grow up?
Yes, absolutely. Like that is a big issue for my children as well. They talk, they won't talk about politics at all, but as soon as I bring up the environment, they have plenty to say to me. So
yeah.
maybe I should be bringing them in here. But we need to invest in renewable energy, and that's another short-sighted. We fail to invest in the future, and we have, in fact, we vote against renewable energy every chance we get. We vote against just policies generally that are beneficial for the environment. It's not even that they don't get introduced; they're shot down. And protecting our forests, protecting our air, our water. We've had some great bills brought to the table, or at least introduced, and they never make it out of committee half the time. And if they do, they're shot down there. And my opponent has been really been one to routinely shoot down bills that would benefit the environment. And I have a great one example, and because I'm talking to you and it's live, I can't remember it. As soon as we're done, I'll be like, "Oh gosh!"
That's all right. We're all human. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and honestly, you sound a whole lot better than that presidential press conference I heard today.
Well, the bar's pretty low.
Ooh, I'm like, again, when people push back on me when I say I want Joe Biden to pick a black woman as his VP, and they push back on me about the most qualified, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. I mean, that was like that moment I really wanted to say a curse word, but like you said, we got young folk to watch the show. I'm sorry. Do not insult me ever again and come to me and say I want the most qualified when we are looking at the most inept administration in the history of this nation.
It's unbelievable.
Representation matters, doggone it, and there are more than enough black women who could be VP. I'm sorry, I mean it. I'm on that one. That one kind of ticked me off because I kept seeing that over and over again. So, but anyway, gotta protect the environment. Aimee, tell the people how they can find you.
Well, my website is votecole2020.com, because if I gave you the Aimee Rivera-Cole, my name's phonetic and everybody gets that mixed up.
Well, I tagged you on it so they can, that's the good stuff.
So there's a votecole2020.com. I have a Facebook page. You can find me on Twitter. My Facebook is Cole for IND Rep. My Twitter is Cole for IND Rep. My Instagram, which is Cole for IND Rep. So I have a theme kind of going there.
And I love it. And her link is there to donate. Are you doing any virtual fundraisers? Anything that we should know about? Or any phone banking?
I'm actually trying to plan, although now we're kind of playing it by ear because, things kind of are fluid right now. We were trying to plan an outdoor socially distanced fundraiser on July 24th at the Gray Eagle Pool. We will see how that goes. So just keep watching my website, I guess, for more information on that, because I want to make sure everybody's safe.
Absolutely.
And we do phone banking every Thursday.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website and find that information, or it's on my Facebook.
And what time on Thursdays do you all phone bank?
We start at 7:00.
So you wait till after turn left, and then
we
you start.
do. That is the reason we started at 7, so that we could make sure we watch turn left.
I love it. I love it. So that means when everyone gets done talking to me or, hitting me up on turn left, y'all can go find Aimee Rivera-Cole and y'all can do some phone banking for her. I love it. Y'all, Indiana's own Dana Black, turn left. This is what we are doing. We're having conversations. Unfortunately, listen, I've had some requests from candidates who were on during the primary season. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get candidates that I have not talked to yet. If I got you in the primary season, more than likely your video is up on the YouTube page and you feel free to share it. Indiana's own YouTube page, you can share it. But I really want to make sure that everybody from all corners of our state in this cycle who want to come on the show have an opportunity to share why they're running so that we can support people all over our state. It's so important that not only do we have significant Democrat representation, but our Democrat representation is also geographically diverse, right? If all of our Democrats come from Marion County and Lake County, it's not or even Allen County, that doesn't help, our folks down in Lagodi. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't help our people up in Mishawaka. So we've got to make sure that we support all of our candidates all over our state. So keep watching every week. I hope you guys are liking what we're bringing and the fact that we're introducing you to people or reintroducing you to candidates that you may or may not have known. But 2020 is for real. You have the census going on this year. We know that redistricting is going to happen. If we continue to stay the course as a nation and as a state, the wealth gap is going to continue. You're still going to have people talking about, I like my Confederate statue. You're going to have all of them things happening. We're still going to be, our kids are going to be suffering because they're not going to be able to, they're not getting the funding they need for education. We're going to continue to lose the best teachers by not paying them. These are things that are going to continue to happen. These things are going to continue to happen if we do not make a change. So, we kick it off the push to the general tonight on July 2nd. Every week, I'm not taking a week off. We're going to make sure that we're bringing you these candidates. And if you have any questions about any of these candidates, I'll make sure that I have their links tagged and all of that so that you can do your own research and find out more information. So, because this is I need everybody to be serious and get involved. Get involved. Your voice, your power. We all have that power. So we need to use it to make changes in the lives of our fellow Hoosiers. For real. That's it. All right. Indiana's own Dana Black. Aimee, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck to you. Enjoy your long weekend. Tell your hubby I'm hoping that things turn around soon so he can get back to work. Tell your son I hope football. I don't know how I feel about that one. Hopefully the scholarship will still be intact. That's what I hope. And
that's what I hope too. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I love it. I love talking to you last time. So this was great. We need intelligence in our state house. And there you go. All right. Indiana's own Dana Black. Turn left. I will catch y'all next week. Peace.